Hi, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and we have 4 brand new decks for you. Not going to waste your time in getting started. We're going to jump right in to the first of these decks, which is Avazord's Death by a Million Cuts. This is a very meta-dependent deck right now. I've been playing on the North American server, and on the North American server, there's a bit of Thanos, but it's not the most common thing, and Scar has seemingly receded. I'm seeing a very rare pull of Scar. This deck can compete in those two matchups, but those aren't the strong suit. The strong suit is all the other decks in the meta. This just eats almost everything else by having multiple game plans that it's capable of playing with. Cabling away their key cards, killmongering away, multiple powerful one-drops. Demons are all over the place. Being able to misery and have more demons, get that extra mill, get their extra cards, having Shang to answer things, and then a death that's basically free at the end that you can play with Zemo to get their very last card. It's just, there's a ton to like about this list. It's incredibly strong. If you'd like to see this list played, please check out twitch.tv/Avazord. Ava is probably the best mill player in the world, and whenever I watch Ava play mill, I'm absolutely amazed. Ava is an absolute monster with this list, and I cannot urge you to go check out Ava enough. The two cards this deck needs are Baron Zemo and Misery. This really does want Gladiator, but Gladiator can be Copycat or Dr. Octopus. Now, the thing that Gladiator really offers you is that extra mill that triggers death, right? The problem is that this is often a Scar meta, and in the Scar versions of this meta, the Gladiator can end up having more downside than upside. Copycat and Dr. Octopus work as a functional replacement here. I'd still suggest you run Gladiator with this list. Legion is just a powerful scam card, right? Legion says, I win games that I have no business winning. I can pull things off that I would otherwise have no way to pull off. Legion is incredible. If you don't have Legion, I think my change would be Iron Man, so you just have something to go over the top in lanes, but Dr. Octopus is also a perfectly fine decision. Again, this is really putting into work. It's shockingly good against Thanos decks. It's kind of weak into the Scar decks, but it's good into most of the rest of the meta. Thanks, Shadow King and Shang. Turn 1, you hood over Yondu unless you have immediate mills. Like if you can go Yondu, Cable, Gladiator, Misery, you're in pretty damn good shape, right? So like if you can do that, obviously Yondu. If not, hood. Turn 2, Cable over 1-drops. Turn 3, Gladiator over 1 and Destroy. And obviously, if they haven't played on 1 and 2, try and play something else instead of Gladiator so that you can see if they're that Scar deck, because you do want to hold Gladiator against that particular matchup, unless you can try and Shanga lane. Turn 4, you would very much like to Misery over get some Destroys going. That can still be your Gladiator turn, as the case may be. Turn 5 is the Last Destroy with Zemo. That's meant to be the Carnage spot, but not always. Last Destroy with Zemo, or you can just drop Legion. And turn 6 is Death with Zemo or Shang or Shadow King. And that's generally enough power to win a game of Marvel Snap. This list is, again, real strong. You can very much limit your opponent's plays on board with all the Destroy and Control, and limit what they can do with their deck by milling them out. Very strong list. After this, we're going to take a look at a top 10 discard, but first I want to urge you to try this list. I think it's really good. I think it'll make you better at Marvel Snap. Try out Avazord playing this as well, or our friend Obi, who will be streaming this later. Speaking of trying things out, I hope you're willing to try out subscribing. Thank you for trying out this video. We bring you more Marvel Snap decks than anyone, more Marvel Snap content than anyone. We did 9 videos last week on our journey to 16,000 subs. We give you at least 3 new decks a day, 4 decks most days, with full guides, more content than absolutely anyone. Please, thanks for subbing, and thanks for watching. If you're willing to like and comment as well, that goes a long way to helping us out, let more people watch the channel. And as a reward, we try to give back to the community by giving away more season passes than everyone. The first 2 weeks of each season, we give away 5 season passes, which means we're a week away from giving away 5 of Galacta, but we still have 2 more weeks of Surtur. We're going to announce our Surtur winner in tomorrow's video. Today got away from me and I didn't have time, unfortunately. So we're going to announce our Surtur winner from last week tomorrow, and then we're going to give away 1 more Surtur season pass over this next week. If you are so inclined, please do like and sub, and later this video, when I ask a question, all you have to do is answer that question in the comments to be entered to win Surtur. Alright, I love this deck. I played this deck a bunch on stream. I streamed twice yesterday. During both streams, I played this list, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. It's very, very strong. I've been comparing Malekith to America Chavez for a while now, in that it adds consistency to your list. It makes you draw the things at the end of the game you want to draw more often, and MODOK and Apocalypse are both extraordinarily important for this list, as is Dracula, and having Malekith often makes you draw those cards. It makes you more likely to draw those cards. The other thing that we really want for consistency is Scorn, right? Scorn says I have an extra repeatable discard besides Apocalypse that helps me make sure I have things in hand and I have things to do. These two cards fundamentally combine to be very similar to what America Chavez used to be in discard, and this is the best discard I think has felt since America Chavez was nerfed. I think discard is now a tier 1 list with this particular build. I don't think you need Grandmaster. I do think you need the rest of the cards, and I do think discard is tier 1. If you don't have Grandmaster, that's going to be Proxima, just so you're aware. But this list is absolutely incredible right now, and I think that this is a tier 1 list. Is this the best list in the game? No. I think there's several lists that are better. I think the Scars... Oh, I've had actually really good success against the Scar stuff pending their Cosmo. But I think the Scar stuff is probably overall better into the meta. I think Bounce Move can just go over the top of this. There's a few things like that are still better, but this list is great and can compete with anything. You can find the creator of this list on Twitter at twitter.com/BBAKSnap. BBAK Snap was the #1 player in February with a discard, he played a bunch of discard, but he ended up #2 with a negative list at a time when everyone was running Mobius, because he's a phenomenal player. And then he was #2 either one of the next couple seasons, either March or April. It runs together a little bit. Either March or April while playing discard entirely. So he's one of the best discard players in the world. He's an unbelievable player. He actually gave his account away for a little while, but now he's back and absolutely crushing Marvel Snap with this list. This deck does need Scorn and MODOK. Grandmaster is the least important card. I think Malekith is reasonably important here. We will do a last chance review for Malekith tomorrow. Replacements can be Proxima, Meek, and Moon Knight. Do not play Malekith with Meek. Those two have anti-synergy. Meek will just be 1 power as it comes out from under Malekith, because at the end of the game, that's how that works. So that's not worth it. But if you don't have Malekith, Meek is still a very good card in discard, as Glenn Jones told us when he was on the podcast. Again, currently rank 9 is BBAK with this list right now, and I had no trouble climbing with it. So turn 1 is Blade if you have a good target. Turn 2 is Mobius over Colleen if a good target. Turn 3, Mobius over Sif over Blade over Gambit. You just want to make sure you want to get, it's Morbin time, not Mobin time. I got the wrong name there. My bad, whatever. You know who I mean. Turn 4, Dracula if you have your key cards, Malekith if not. Turn 5, Dracula or Malekith or MODOK, depending on your hand. Turn 6 is if you have a Giant Apocalypse that you can drop a Giant Apocalypse, which is often really fun because sometimes your hand is like Giant Apocalypse and like 10 power 10 power Scorn, and you can just discard Scorn and get like 12 power off that with your Dracula, right? And then drop like 24 power Apocalypse somewhere to win the game. It's really nice. You can also drop MODOK and a 1, and again, that Scorn being like 6-8 power is really nice, because now you have a 14 power play last turn that's discarding Apocalypse and getting all your other shenanigans going. Stellar stuff. I love this list. Every card here fits perfectly. If you want to get the 0/7 that is Proxima in the list, Lady Sif can go, right? Lady Sif is not the most important card here. I like Lady Sif in particular because it gives me something to do on turn 4. Sometimes on turn 4 you don't have Dracula or Malekith, but you do draw like, or Morbius, right? And you can go Grandmaster Morbius. Or on turn 5, you can Grandmaster that Gambit away and then drop Morbius, right? Like, or there's just a million little plays like that really, really, really do make this deck sing, as long as you remember to play in the corners for your on reveals and try and like keep 1 in each spot depending on what you might want to do. Awesome list. Please, if you have access to this, play it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. There are like gameplay losses. There are extremely lucky wins and losses. It's because of the way Scorn works, because sometimes you just end up 1 power off. Regardless, this list is absolutely great. Play it. If you'd like to see this list plays, please check out the stream team. Obihaved, our friend Obi, will be streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern today. Go check him out. He'll have a YouTube video up on the next day or two with these decks. Gregor2424 will be tomorrow. And if you want to check YouTube now, both the Pirate King Tuccrr and FaThorNewman should have videos up soon. All right, next up we have Snack Crackle Pop's Serakith. I really like this list. I tried to play this all day on stream and never actually got around to it, but I think this is a very, very cool list. This is also the budget list. You need Zabu, and Malekith here, right? So if you have Zabu and Malekith, you have access to this really, really, really cheap Sera list that can actually compete with anything. I know there's other high series cards here, but they're actually replaceable. So you can find the Snap Crackle Pop at twitter.com/snapcracklepop. This deck does need Zabu, like desperately needs Zabu. Zabu is incredibly important. Hydra Bob can be Psylocke. I think I might want Hydra Bob to be Psylocke, all things considered. Red Guardian can be Rogue, and Malekith can be Anti-Venom or Iron Lad. Malekith is, however, important. What Malekith does in this list is it makes you more likely to draw Sera on turn 5, right? If you had a 2-drop in the way of Sera, then this is going to move that 2-drop out of Sera's way, which is incredibly, incredibly useful. Also, please note, almost everything this frickin' card pulls is incredible in this list, right? You don't want to pull Zabu, fine. Pulling Shadow King, great. Pulling Lizard if you have a Luke, great. Pulling a Killmonger, well, you'll know that, so you can choose what to do with Hydra Bob. Pulling Luke, great. Pulling Red Guardian, assuming you play wisely in locations, great. Like, this is just great, great pulls with this card. Cool? All right, so this is climbing in high infinite currently. So turn 1 Zabu, turn 2 Lizard, turn 3 Luke over Red Guardian, turn 4 Malekith is better than a 3+1. Sometimes you'll Enchantress here, sometimes you'll want to save Enchantress. Turn 5 Sera. If you don't have Zabu or Sera, you can just straight run. You need one of the two. Turn 6, you get your control cards out. You pick which control cards win you the game, and you play them. Sometimes that's just like a Shang-Chi and Omega Red, which is just silly power when it does go off. This list is awesome, and I cannot urge you to try it enough. Very cool list. Again, I like Malekith more than I think almost everyone, so I'm trying to decide what my recommendation is because next month's cards seem utterly broken, but Malekith seems really good, and if you have access to it, give this Serakith deck a try. All right. Given that we just looked at a couple relatively budget decks in Marvel Snap, my season pass question is, what's your favorite budget deck? What is your favorite really cheap deck? Maybe it's one of these, maybe it's a Scream deck, maybe it's a Destroy deck. What is your favorite budget deck in Marvel Snap? Answer that question as long as you're subscribed to win a season pass. We're going to end with an Aber list. Aber's still a top 5 player in Marvel Snap, even though he's playing less. He is climbing consistently with the classic odds list. This is, this isn't an Aber list. We're crediting Aber because Aber's the only one still playing it that I know of. But this is a list that basically lost Rockslide entirely and said, no, we're still good. There is a lot of Thanos in the meta. There is a lot of arishem in the meta, and this deck just feasts on those decks and cards while also being really, really disruptive thanks to Black Bolt and Moon Knight. I really want there to be a version. On stream, I built a junk version of this with Cannonball that I liked. It just wasn't quite consistent enough. But like I built a junk Cannonball version of this. I think that there's got to be a version of this that doesn't run the Darkhawk package, largely because I really don't like Black Widow right now. But the list works. Aber's working it. Let me know what you think if you have an opinion about how we can build this without a Darkhawk package. It's probably just freaking Iron Man, right? All right, so Aber rules. This deck needs Darkhawk. Cassandra can be Copycat Red Guardian Polaris. I'm not, in fact, sure that Cassandra is better than Copycat or Red Guardian. Nico can be Hydra Bob or Iceman. Proxima can be Swarm. I don't like Black Widow right now, again, because Black Widow has to be played on turn 3, fundamentally. If you play Black Widow on 4, yes, you can stop one draw, right? Because you can activate it on turn 5, but they never have to play that stupid Widow's Kiss. So you're not getting that, Widow's Bite. So you're not getting the extra power for that, and it really, really does mess things up. All right. So this is, again, a top 5 climber. Turn 1, Korg over Hood. Turn 2 is ones, whatever one you can. Turn 3 is Widow over Viper on Hood, over Moon Knight, over Cassandra Nova. And again, the longer you wait for Cassandra Nova, the worse it is, so I don't know what to tell you. Fairly often on turn 4, the play is like Cassandra Nova and Korg, though. Or Korg and Cassandra Nova, technically, in that order. Turn 5 is meant to be a Black Bolt or Moon Knight, so you can get a cheap stature, and then cheap stature and Darkhawk win the game. Sometimes it's like cheap stature, Juggernaut, and a Demon or something like that. This deck just wins. It's very good. It's very consistent. It's honestly shockingly good, even in this current meta. Having a 0-7 and junking up your opponent will do that. Good list. Is this high priority? No, but if you're getting sick, if you're like facing a lot of Goliath and a lot of Thanos all over the place right now, this list should just eat those. Cool. Questions of the day. Kevin Bacon asks about sequencing for activation cards. So basically, immediately after you play the thing you want to activate on is when you activate. So let's say you have an Aranya on the board and you want Iron Fist Human Torch. So you would have Aranya on the board, right? Then you play Iron Fist. Then you trigger Aranya. Then you play Human Torch. Human Torch will go left first, then right. The on reveal happens before the activation's ability happens. But that's how that works. Same thing is basically true for Symbiote Spider-Man. If you wanted to Symbiote Spider-Man Galactus, you drop Galactus in that location alone, and then you trigger Symbiote Spider-Man. It will immediately activate. Those are the two big ones, right? Like no one's. I mean, I guess there's Hela also. You can if you've got a Hela or a Jubilee or something, like so. Let's say you want to play Jubilee and you have Hellcow out. You would trigger Hellcow, then play Jubilee. It would discard the card, then Jubilee would happen. So that's fundamentally how this works. On turn 5, it does not matter when you trigger Black Swan, as long as you make sure you do it on turn 5, not turn 6. And I think we already talked about Black Widow. That's fundamentally how Activate works. Thinking Poker asked me about eating meat and the ethics thereof. So I don't think there's a good ethical argument that we deserve to eat meat. Um, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. This is the one thing I do in my life that I'm most certain I'm ethically incorrect about. If you have the means and the ability, eating non-meats is both healthier for you, more ethically correct by an awful lot, and better for the planet. I don't actually see a reason to not do it. That said, this is the thing I do that I'm wrong about. I mean, generations of evolutionary biology, generations in our entire existence of evolutionary biology, and the way my brain works have not let me overcome that hump. I try and eat less meat. I fail miserably, but I'm pretty sure that eating meat is completely unethical, as long as you can afford not to. For those who can't afford otherwise, for those who it would be prohibitively expensive not to. Obviously, I don't think you should like genuinely make your life worse by not eating meat, but those who have the means, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're messing up. I don't think there's much of an argument otherwise. Like, we know that these are living beings, right, that have feelings, and we're just like, but they're delicious. And like, we know some of them are smart and can be pets and domesticated and so on, but they're delicious. Like, there's very little reason or justification for us to eat a pig and not a dog. That just isn't there. So, if you'd like to argue, please feel free. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. Patreon.com/snapjudgments. Thank you to Abigail Gieslin, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Je Navalite, Thinking Poker, thank you for the question, my friend, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Ryans, Kiertix Lee, Coy Ray, K-pop, Kiertix Lee and Coy Ray. Is there any other K's that we can stick over there? Mr. Kerfuffle, maybe. All right, Black Dahlia, Pyrophos, and the Goat Seeker, our Alliance Leader crew. Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, hey Ginge, Philip Ratkovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, X4C, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Tommy freaking Nyquist, the King of Bros, the Great Kazoo, Kepsi Hoda, Lunacris, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy McHugh, Clam, Colonel Forbin, 8th Sage, Mod Supreme Models. We've got the Green Goblin, our favorite Osborne, Unibot, Flan56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan Martin, Jason B. Real names. Hello, real name friends. The Fuzzy Thomas, Spectrum Mix, Hoot, Matt H., DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Denman Falcon, Jonesy, the great Lauren Rodez, the Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course, Gunny T. Did I say two ties? Where the T stands for? I don't know if I said two ties because I'm really sleepy. I don't know if you can tell, but it's late at night and I've had a pretty good day, but a long one. I graded a bunch since last I saw you. That's why I didn't pull it. So thanks so much for hanging out with me as always, and I'll see you tomorrow with another Snap Take. If you're interested in just checking out some Thanos lists, I got 4 really cool ones in a surprise video yesterday. Check that out. We'll also have the podcast up. I'm hoping for Monday. So Monday looks like a 2 video day. See you then. Peace.